Men are men. Men can never become women. Women are women. Women can never become men. Children are innocent, and they need our protection.
A decisive moment at the Department of Health and Human Services. Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill stands firm, declaring a return to biological reality in the protection of children. For years, the halls of our federal institutions were filled with a different kind of rhetoric. Under the previous administration, policies were enacted that many believe ignored the fundamental laws of nature. The Department of Health and Human Services, once a bastion of medical stability, became a staging ground for experimental procedures and ideological conditioning. These policies prioritize subjective identity over objective biology, often targeting the most vulnerable among us, our children. But on December 18th, the atmosphere changed. The silence was broken by a voice of unwavering clarity. Jim O'Neill did not just give a speech, he issued a declaration of intent. He spoke of a world where biological sex is immutable, a world where medical science returns to its core mission of doing no harm. This is not merely a policy shift, it is a restoration of sanity, a movement to reclaim the very foundation of our societal health. The message was sent loud and clear. The era of untested social experiments on the American youth is coming to a definitive and final conclusion. The core of O'Neill's message centered on a sacred duty, the protection of minors from irreversible procedures. For too long, the government encouraged pathways that led to permanent physical changes for those not yet old enough to vote or drive. Critics and parents alike have raised the alarm, citing a systemic failure to provide long-term data on these interventions. O'Neill's stance marks a pivotal moment in the defense of the family unit. He emphasized that the federal government will no longer be an accomplice to radical medical transitions for children. Instead, the focus shifts toward neutralizing the influence of ideological groups within the medical establishment. This new direction signals a firm commitment to clinical integrity. The administration is signaling that federal funding will no longer support what they deem to be grave ethical violations. By framing this as a matter of child safety, the HHS is drawing a line that resonates with millions of Americans who have watched the cultural shifts with growing concern. The priority is clear: safeguard the future by honoring the biological truth of the present. The response to O'Neill's statement was immediate and electric. Across the digital landscape, a wave of support and relief washed over conservative communities. Many see this as the fulfillment of a pivotal campaign promise, a return to the common sense that once governed American life. On social media, citizens expressed a sense of profound vindication. They argue that for too long, biological reality was treated as a secondary concern, or worse, a form of intolerance. One observer noted that future generations would be stunned by how radical basic biology had become in the eyes of the elite. Others pointed out that biological sex is concrete, not a fluid concept or a subjective idea. This is more than a legal debate. It is a cultural reckoning. The administration's firm stance has ignited a firestorm of intense opposition from progressive circles, who view this as a rollback of hard-won rights. However, for the traditionalists, this is the first step in a long journey toward national healing. The battle lines are drawn, and the HHS has made its position unambiguously clear. As we look toward the future, the implications of this policy pivot are staggering. The Department of Health and Human Services is preparing to dismantle the framework that allowed these radical ideologies to flourish. This means more than just words. It means regulatory changes, administrative overhauls, and a new standard of care that respects the traditional understanding of the human person. The administration is signaling an end to federal mandates that forced medical professionals to act against their conscience or clinical judgment. This is a restoration of authority to parents and a return to evidence-based medicine. The road ahead will likely be paved with legal challenges and political friction, but the resolve shown by O'Neill suggests the administration is prepared for the fight. They are moving to neutralize the bureaucracy that prioritized social agendas over scientific fact. In the end, this is about more than just policy. It is about the character of the nation. It is a statement that truth matters, that biology is real, and that the protection of the innocent remains the highest calling of a just government.